Okay. Hey, my name is Crystal Corey, and I am a teacher for Richmond Public Schools, and I'm also a member of the Mayor's Teacher Advisory Council. And today we are interviewing Ms. Larson. Want to introduce yourself?
Okay, I'm Kristen Larson. I'm the 4th District City Council representative for the City of Richmond. I'm also a mom of 2 Richmond Public School students. My son goes to Code RVA, which is a regional school, and then my daughter is at Binford Middle School. And I also was formerly on the school board.
Awesome. All right, so our first question is, what is the first restaurant that you'll visit when social distancing is over? And any specific dish that you're going to order?
This was a really hard question because I think about this all the time of where I'm going to go and what I'm going to do. But I have to say, and I love Richmond restaurants. We're so lucky, and it's actually, my kids have gotten a little crazy about it, where they're like, we have the best restaurants in the city of Richmond. But one of my favorite spots is in my district, Galley, which is over there off of Forest Hill Avenue in the Stratford Hills area. And at Galley, you can get a burger or you can get breakfast for dinner, which is probably one of my favorite things to get. So I would say breakfast for dinner, or they have this great like mussels bowl with crusty bread. And so, yeah, that's I would say on my list of top 5 places I'm gonna hang out once we're allowed to get out and mingle again.
That sounds good. Alrighty, so question number 2 is, can you name a teacher that significantly impacted your life, and what was it about that teacher that was so impactful?
Mm-hmm. You all really sent me some tough questions. But so when I had some teachers growing up in my K through 12 part of my life, but I did pick a teacher from when I went to college, and I went to Syracuse University. I don't know exactly why, but he has definitely resonated with me over the years. He was, I got my degree from Syracuse in newspaper journalism, and he was one of my journalism teachers. And I think he approached our class and his students in a way that always made me feel really empowered. And he almost treated us like we were all working together, rather than he was the teacher sort of, showering down on you about his knowledge. It was more like, we're all in this together, and I'm helping you, guide you through this world of journalism. And it was really great, and I feel like I learned a lot from him, not only about journalism, but also just about life and maturity, and how to do an interview with somebody and how to write a news story. So Joel Kaplan, I don't know if he's still at Syracuse or not, but he was a great professor and really had an impact on me.
Yeah, that's important when you empower your students. Mm-hmm. I have a couple of teachers who I can specifically remember. They weren't it's funny because it's not the easy teachers I ever really think about. Right. Challenging in their class, but they it's they pull greatness out of you, and it it just sticks with you. Mm-hmm. All right, so number 3 says, where in RPS are you seeing impactful work being done? Or more specifically, where are you seeing great work among RPS teachers?
Mm-hmm. This was also a tough question, but I really think, and I know this sounds very Pollyanna of me, but I think there's great work being done all over our district. And I think the the great work comes from the heart and the passion that I see in our teachers. Um, I see a lot of teachers who are passionate about what they teach. Um, I don't really get it with those math teachers. I can't. I'm not sure you told me what you teach.
I teach science.
All right, yeah, that's not exactly my thing, but it's definitely more my thing than math. But but I see these teachers who are just so passionate about whatever their specialty is. And so the passion comes through with some folks in that way. And then you also have a different style of teachers that really the passion comes through with their love of our kids and their ability to look at a classroom of 30 children and see potential in all of them. And I feel like I'm getting choked up, but so many of our teachers um, really reach out to the ones that need us the most, that
Mhm.
need them the most. And that is remarkable to me. And I see that in RPS every day.
Definitely. My dad is an RPS teacher also, and
Um,
right for like since like '99,
mhm,
and I've definitely like seen the output into the students, and then it's cool because it's like since '99 I've like and it's like what 2020 I have seen like his students become teachers and like his students like become he's a music teacher become musicians, and it's and like just seeing that growing up, I was like, I didn't want to be a teacher at first because I was like, I want to be poor, but here I am. And I definitely know that sometimes you don't see it right away, but then like
mhm,
later on, you like see your students and it's just like this beautiful thing. And it's definitely very rewarding in that aspect.
mhm.
All right. So this is another probably hard question, but what does education mean to you, and
Mhm.
why is it so important to get an education?
Um, s- so I think education is multifaceted, right? There's the education of we need to learn how to spell and we need to learn how to read and we need to learn how to do math and all of those things. But I think a big part of the K through 12 experience is growing into a person, right? And I think that, during the pandemic, this is one of the challenges that we're having is, the socialization that we have within the walls of our school. Um, I do think that some of the kids are missing that, and I think some of our kids are probably really hungry to get that sort of um, just interaction back in their lives because we have our families, but I think we're all getting a little stir crazy with being around the same folks and in the same house.
Right.
Um, but I think that during that educational process, pre-K and kindergarten, you're learning to be in a classroom.
Mhm.
You're learning to raise your hand when you want to talk and ask to go to the bathroom and these types of social skills. Now, when you get up to high school, you're the social skills are different in that you're learning to argue with people in an educated way and state your case and that sort of thing. So um, the the sort of book side of education is obvious, it's crucial, right? If you're going to move forward in life, we need to know how to write and read and all of those basics. but that social interaction and the soft skills that we get from education are also really a really important part of our public education system.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking about when you were talking about like how they're like missing the social interaction. And like I know a lot of our kids have like siblings, but it's different when it's like your peers. Like
Mm-hmm.
hanging out with a 4-year-old when you're 12 is not the same as hanging out with a 12-year-old. And I just think like after 6 months of like not having that, and then like assuming that we start school in September, like what type of challenges there will be and how I'll have to like adjust as a teacher to like be understanding that like we all just went through this like traumatic experience, and like they probably miss each other like as much as I miss them. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
definitely something that I have been like thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, so what would you like to see in RPS, and how can RPS improve?
Um, I would like to see us, I guess, in the immediate, and this is without me knowing a ton of behind the scenes what's going on with you all and the pandemic. Just seeing like bits and pieces as a parent, right, on the receiving end of seeing what's coming at my children. I think there is probably potential to infuse more training into how we're educating our kids right now. But not training where you're like, hey, Kristen, I just sat and watched a video for 4 hours, and was trying to stay awake, but more so of you use the teachers saying, we want to connect with our kids. We want, now that we have these laptops in the field, how can we connect with our kids, and how can we create some sort of normal system for doing that? I mentioned this during our city council meeting the other night, in that I think that the lack of standardization for how teachers are interacting with kids could be challenging if you had multiple children at multiple different schools and different teachers. I mean, if you have a middle schooler or a high schooler, then they have numerous teachers. Now, if those teachers are all using different platforms to interact, and let's say you had 4 kids, you could be on Google Hangout, email, text messages, Instagram, Class Dojo, all of these things. So I think it would be great to see us come together in a way that makes it easy for you, that is a teacher friendly program, and also makes it easy for the families. Because my concern is, I hope our children can go back in September, and I hope you all can go back too. But I think there are a lot of unknowns right now, and we need to put some standards in place to keep those connections between the teachers and the families and the students.
I agree. I think it's like we didn't have like one-to-one computers, so there was a lot that like wasn't known, and then it was like, bam, you're not gonna be at school for the rest of the year. You're like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? And one of my specialists like described it as like building a plane while you're flying it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a lot of challenges, and I definitely can see, like, I don't have children, but I can see the difficulty in like a lot of different platforms to go to, because even though we have like RPS at home right now where everybody can go in, there are teachers who are still like individually like giving assignments to their students, and it's being encouraged, so that kind of doesn't make it like mainstream one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can see how that would be like challenging for a family with multiple Because I know, like, I had a student who had like 9 brothers and sisters, and I couldn't imagine. Like, I could not imagine what that would be like for a parent.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, is there a message that you would like to send to our teachers?
Um, I think the message is I just so appreciate teachers. I think it just takes a special person to choose that path, that career path, and you certainly don't do it for the hours or the that whole summer off thing is not is not a thing.
Not real.
um, or the pay. And so, folks become teachers because there's a passion there and a calling, and it really is a public service. So I just am so grateful that we have such a strong community of educators in Richmond Public Schools. And I feel like our teachers just have the biggest hearts and just love our kids a little extra, and I appreciate all they do. So just thank you.
Thank you. And our last question is a funny question. So, how many times have you been on Zoom without pants?
So I have never been on Zoom without pants, but I have been on Zoom with wearing pants that didn't have zippers or buttons. Like, where right now I'm wearing jeans, just for the record. But wearing a nice top, but then like my workout pants. So
I haven't worn jeans in a month. So I'm like,
I think my kids would think I was crazy if they saw me walking around with no pants on on a Zoom call. But it could create be good fodder for the next holiday dinner we'd have.
All right. Well, thank you so much for doing this interview. Thank you for your time. And I just pray your strength as you are at home with your 2 students and figuring everything out. But yes, thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you reaching out to me and giving me this time to speak to our community.
No problem.